What's up, guys? It's Rich. Escape from Tarkov just wiped, and I have the best settings for you in terms of performance and clarity. A nice balance in between the two. I'm going to show you my in-game settings here today. Going to go over it quickly here, and then I'll show you my Nvidia control panel color settings so you guys can capture that as well and get obviously the best clarity in game that lets you see, enemies, especially when they're hiding dark corners or whatnot. Make sure you guys follow these settings, and if you find them useful, make sure you guys drop a like on a video. Other than that, a sub to the channel would be spectacular. Make sure you guys stay tuned for more Escape from Tarkov important videos. So under game, the main thing that changed here is going to be continuous medkit healing. So under continuous medkit healing, I'll have that enabled now. So now when you press your healing medkit, whatever it is, normally on my keyboard, it's number 4 or 5 on my keyboard. I press that, you can actually scroll down and click continuous healing. So full heal, and it'll full heal every single body part you have. If you're played Arena Breakout Infinite, you'll know the way this works. This automatically just heals every part of your body. Obviously starting with a heavy bleed, light bleed, head, and then thorax, I believe is the order it goes. That's the way it obviously trickles down. So that's really useful instead of having to press the number 4 or 5 on your keyboard or right-click and use on your medkits multiple times. This is an awesome change. Make sure you have this enabled. Definitely want to do that. Auto add to wish list, also one I would recommend changing here because the new changes to the flea market and the hideout. You can no longer just purchase stuff from flea market in order to upgrade your hideout. It can only be found in raid items. So make sure you auto add to wish list. You go down here and you click favorite recipes plus zone upgrades. So obviously now you'll do hideout zone upgrades and you'll do favorite recipes. So if you favorite an item, it'll highlight it in game as well for you for raids and for quests. So that's some really good important changes. Additionally, I do have on my quick slots, stamina, stance, health condition always shown like that, especially if you're newer to the game. It's really good to obviously understand what's going on, and it doesn't have to have you show it up only when you're getting shot at or when you're changing weapons. It's kind of just having your hotbar there, permanently, and that's really worth doing in my opinion. Obviously, it takes away a little bit from the immersion, so if you like to, immerse yourself a little bit more in the game, definitely maybe put this as always hidden so you can appreciate the world a little more, but I honestly will always have it under always shown. Moving over to graphics settings, a couple of these settings here. Make sure your screen resolution is set to your default monitor resolution. Screen mode, borderless. The reason I use borderless is because I'm alt tabbing out a lot, especially when I'm streaming or if I'm doing other stuff on the other monitor for Map Genie or, Tarkov Wiki or things of that nature. Aspect ratio, I like 16:10. It looks a little bit squished together instead of 16:9, the standard resolution. But the reason I do that, it just feels a little bit easier to hit my shots. It could be placebo. It's more than likely placebo. Definitely don't necessarily have to run 16:10 to make you a better player. I just like it. I've used it for a little bit now. Most of last wipe, I was running 16:10, and I enjoyed it. So definitely recommend, obviously, if you want to try it out, just throw it on there. It's not going to affect your performance. So monitor, just make sure to say your default monitor. This is always broken for me, though. I'm not even on my HP monitor. It's just completely broken there. So graphics quality here, custom, texture quality, medium, shadow quality, low. That affects performance a solid amount. Make sure you guys set the shadows to low. LED quality is the object item pop-ins, so trees, buildings in the background set to 2.5. I've run that every wipe. I've never had any issues with seeing enemies. 1000 overall visibility. If you go down to a map like maybe labs or factory, you can maybe put that down to 500 and even increase your performance a little bit more. But I've always left it at 1000 and never had any issues with it. Clouds quality low. This affects performance a solid amount as well. I don't really care about the clouds too much. Again, immersion change there. NVIDIA DLSS, I've really never had too much of an input latency delay when NVIDIA DLSS is on. I know a lot of people sometimes are against NVIDIA DLSS because of that, but to me, the benefit it brings you with boosted performance is too nice the thing to pass up, so I'll always run NVIDIA DLSS balanced. It's a nice mix in between, obviously, performance and quality, so you don't lose too much of that graphics quality, but you also get that boost in performance. HBAO off, SSR off, anti-stropic filtering off, NVIDIA Reflex low latency on, so this counteracts any input latency you might have. On plus boost seems to heat up my PC a lot, but I tend to just run it on. I've never had too many issues with it. Sharpness 0.9, lobby FPS limit 60. Also, this stuff down here is grayed out. Everything down here is unchecked except at Streets of Tarkov lower texture resolution mode. This will just give you more frames in Streets of Tarkov. Definitely enable it. The game doesn't look ugly with it on. Most 100% just recommend it. It just saves you so much frames in performance in terms of such an I would say resource hungry map. For some reason, Streets of Tarkov just absolutely eats RAM on people's computers. So definitely make sure you guys have that enabled. PostFX, I'll just have it on here. The reason I use these is it does make my game a lot brighter, but it also makes sure that enemies are very clear and able to pop out and identify them. And for me, that's really important. Sometimes I'll enable it, sometimes I'll have it off because I also use my Nvidia control panel settings. To me, those are really good as well and really important. That doesn't affect frames at all if you do Nvidia control panels, but it's not as in-depth as something like the in-game PostFX. So that's what I'm going to run right now, especially the first few days of wipe. I'll probably have that on. On sound, this is obviously what I use, but I also use an in-game, or not an in-game, a mixer, my Elgato Wavelink as well, and that software. So that lets me obviously adjust for my headset and things like that for stream. So I wouldn't take what I have here to sound with, too much of a 100% copy and paste here, just because, like I said, I do change some of the stuff outside of the game itself. Controls here, I'll kind of run through it, and I'll pause if you want to, copy anything here. But mouse sensitivity 0.170, mouse sensitivity aiming 0.130, double click timeout 0.3, scope zoom adjust sensitivity 1.00. I'm also using a 1000 DPI setting on my mouse right now, so that gives you a good base point. But I'll kind of just scroll through here and just show you everything I have. Again, if you guys want to pause anything, or if you guys have any changes or anything like that. Shoulder transition, by the way, which is left-hand peak. I really barely, if ever, used left-hand peak last swipe. I know they added it in, but I haven't been able to find a good keybind for it. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are using for that keybind. I'm very curious. Maybe I'll try and implement it more this way, but I never found myself in a situation that, damn, I was like, man, I wish I had left-hand peak there. Although, obviously, it's stronger to have that going, but instead of a right-hand peak, but sometimes I don't have any keybind for it that would make me feel comfortable running it. So I'll keep scrolling through here. A lot of these, like tactical modes, switch tactical device, and switch my sights, I'm using on my mouse buttons. So I have 2 mouse buttons, and I normally have my change scope magnification on there, or trigger tactical devices. That's what I'm running on there as well. So that's for my controls. Other than that, I'm going to switch over now. I'm going to show you my Nvidia control panel. We can talk about that, and I'll show you guys what I have going on there. All right, guys, so in my Nvidia control panels, this pairs up nicely with my PostFX settings. Again, it does make your game really bright. So if you don't like that, maybe turn down either Nvidia control panel brightness or tweak your in-game PostFX settings, whichever one works. Again, if you do Nvidia control panel, it doesn't affect your in-game performance. Like PostFX does affect your frames a little bit because it's doing in-game processing to affect the way the game looks. So just keep that in mind. I obviously would recommend starting with Nvidia control panel and then doing Nvidia PostFX if you're struggling, or excuse me, in-game PostFX if you're struggling with performance. I was for a very long time just running Nvidia control panel settings. It works great. Definitely try these settings out. I use my gamma at 1.20, contrast 60%, brightness 55%. The increase of contrast to counteract the elements of adding in new gamma and brightness, raising those values. So that's at 60%. Digital vibrance, I have that at 80%. This just makes the in-game pop, shows more color. Obviously oversaturates the game a lot, but to me, I like that. I like it way more than a bland looking game. Escape from Tarkov can be very just gray and dark with its colors, and adding in that digital vibrance adds that extra saturation, makes the game pop. If you guys see it on stream, I have it tweaked out. You guys can't see it now, obviously, because I'm not in a raid, but when I am live streaming, I have my filters on OBS so you guys can see the way the game I see it, and it just makes the game look more beautiful generally. And I honestly have a good time running at a digital vibrance. I've ran it around 70 to 80% for years now, and I've never had an issue with it, guys. So definitely try out the Nvidia control panel before at PostFX, and then make your way to PostFX as well. Again, guys, these settings aren't going to 100% solve any issues for you. I definitely recommend you try them out, see how they work for you. I've definitely not had too many issues when I've run these settings for the last few wipes. I definitely think my game performance is really, really good. My PC specs, for the record, are an i7 13700K. I have a 4070. I also have 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM. Make sure you guys have, if you guys are running RAM as well, make sure you guys have your XMP BIOS settings enabled so it overclocks your RAM and speeds up this game. Escape from Tarkov benefits a lot from having increased RAM speeds, and I definitely recommend that you guys have that enabled. So if you don't know how to enable XMP, I know there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, but just look up on Google XMP, and I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out from there. All right, guys, if you guys do enjoy this video, a like to the channel would be amazing. A sub to the channel would also be spectacular. I do appreciate you guys, and I hope you guys are enjoying Escape from Tarkov. I hope you guys look forward to more Escape from Tarkov videos on the channel. I do appreciate it, and I'm so excited for the wipe, and I'll catch you guys in there. Peace out.